All right, so this week we got the murders of Nicole Brown Simpson and Ronald Goldman, also known as the O.J. Simpson case. As you may know, O.J. died. Rest in peace. And this is how we honor people by talking about all the awful things they've done.
My eyes look very droopy.
Okay. I'm glad you
I don't
commented
like it.
on the video.
Did he murder his wife?
Well, that's what we're gonna cover. O.J. Simpson was an NFL Hall of
Uh,
Fame running back for the Buffalo Bills. You know, football.
yes.
And he was
Yes. I
also
know
Nicole's
football.
ex-husband.
Okay.
Let's get started by looking at the official timeline leading to the murders. On June 12, 1994, in Brentwood, California, at 6:30 p.m., Nicole Brown Simpson, her children, and other guests go to dinner at a restaurant called the Mezzaluna. At 8 p.m., Nicole Simpson and her children leave the Mezzaluna. At 9:15 p.m., one of Nicole's sisters calls the Mezzaluna to say that Nicole's mother left her glasses there. Ronald Goldman, a friend of Nicole's, went to the restaurant to retrieve the glasses. At 9 to 9:30 p.m., O.J. Simpson and his friend Brian Cato Kalin, who is staying in O.J.'s guest house, go to McDonald's for dinner. At 9:45 p.m., Cato and O.J. return home. At 9:48 to 9:50 p.m., Goldman leaves the Mezzaluna with a white envelope containing Nicole's mother's glasses. At 10:15 p.m., a neighbor of Nicole Brown Simpson hears the barking of a dog. It was posited that these barks were coming from Nicole's dog, who was barking at the murder of Nicole Simpson. At 10:25 p.m., limousine driver Alan Park arrives at O.J.'s home. He was there to drive O.J. to his flight from LA to Chicago at 11:45 p.m. At 10:40 p.m., Cato hears 3 loud thumps on an outside wall of his room in the guest house. At 10:40 to 10:50 p.m., Alan Park buzzes the intercom several times but does not get a response. At 10:55 p.m., Park sees a man around 6 feet tall, 200 pounds, walking across the driveway towards the house. About 11 p.m., Park buzzes the intercom again. O.J. answers, and he says that he overslept and had just gotten out of the shower. At 11 to 11:15 p.m., O.J. puts his bags in the limousine. He leaves
This
for the airport.
is O.J. Simpson,
Yes.
not Art Simpson or any of the other Simpson family members.
That is funny. That is very funny. I like that.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, is that the end of your joke?
Yeah, no, you're good.
At 11:15 p.m., O.J. leaves for the airport. At 11:45 p.m., O.J. departs on an American Airlines flight to Chicago. At 12:10 a.m., Nicole's dog leads neighbors to the bodies of Nicole Brown Simpson and Ronald Goldman outside Nicole's townhouse. They were stabbed to death. At the scene, a blood-stained glove, a knitted hat, and a bloody footprint were found. About 5 a.m., detectives Mark Furman and Philip Vanader arrive at O.J.'s house. At 5:15 to 5:30 a.m., the detectives examine an apparent bloodstain on Simpson's Ford Bronco. At 5:40 to 5:50 a.m., fearing that O.J. may have been hurt, Detective Furman jumped the wall in order for detectives to gain access inside of O.J.'s estate. In O.J.'s estate, they would find faint trails of blood and found a leather glove with blood on it behind the guest house.
Okay. Blood trail, blood-covered gloves, and his house.
You're
And
gonna quickly realize that there is way more. There is a ton of
I
evidence that
I don't
indicates
think he
that he
did
is
it.
guilty.
I don't
Okay.
think he did it.
Okay.
There's too much evidence not going for him.
A few days later, when O.J. returned to L.A., he was interviewed by detectives. During the interview, they noticed a deep cut on O.J.'s left hand, and when they asked him about it, his story changed several times. On June 17, 1994, O.J. Simpson was charged with 2 accounts of murder, but rather than surrender to police, O.J. fled in his white Ford Bronco with his friend A.C. Cowlings, who was driving. A low-speed police chase on a freeway in California ensued. Cowlings later explained that he didn't stop because O.J. was suicidal and had a gun pointed to his head, threatening to end his own life. During the chase, a phone call between O.J. and homicide detective Tong Lane was recorded. The chase was televised by the news, and millions of people were watching. The chase would eventually end at O.J.'s home in Brentwood, California, where he was taken into custody.
He
Late,
evaded the cops to his house.
I think, I think he realized that he wasn't getting away, so he just said, "Fuck it, might as well
What
end
a
it here."
fucking idiot. What a dumbass. The guy's
No.
so stupid.
Do you think he was like, "Oh, they'll never find me here" when they were like pulling into his house?
Maybe.
Uh, that would be quite comical if he actually thought that. But honestly, the way that things have been going for OJ, he probably did actually believe he would get away by hiding in his house.
And he probably lives in a gigantic ass mansion.
Oh, he
Probably has a
does.
secret room
He
or
does.
something. Getaway bomb room. All the
Wait,
rich people have getaway bomb, nuclear waste, end of the world places.
no, this guy would know.
So
This guy right here, he would know.
they're all part of the Illuminati. They're all part of a cult, and the world's ending soon, and we're fucked because we don't have money.
That's great. A little later, a suicide note was found in OJ's home. It thanked those that meant a lot to him, but he also claimed his innocence, reading, quote, "Everyone understand I have nothing to do with Nicole's murder. I loved her, always have, and always will. If we had a problem, it's because I loved her too much." End quote. And we're gonna look into how much OJ really loved her, because that guy, he loved her.
I'm pretty sure he was abusive.
Well, you're right. So he loved her a lot.
What a piece of shit. I wish he killed himself.
Okay, that's great. All right. With all of that, let's look into the main suspect in the case, who is none other than O.J. Simpson. We will present the reasons why O.J. is innocent and why he is guilty. Let's start with the reasons he may be guilty. O.J. and Nicole Simpson married in 1985. During their marriage, the police made 9 visits to their house because of O.J.'s abusive behavior. In 1989, O.J. was arrested and charged with spousal abuse. Fortunately, Nicole and O.J. divorced in 1992. But leading up to the murders, Nicole's friends reported that O.J. was stalking Nicole and was asking her for another chance. Before the murders, Ron Goldman and Nicole Simpson had become increasingly close, which led people to believe that they may have been more than just friends. But Ron denied these claims. This relationship between Goldman and Nicole would establish jealousy as a possible motive for O.J. to murder the two. With a possible motive, let's now look into the timeline to establish an opportunity where O.J. could have committed the murders. There is a period from 9:45 p.m. to 11 p.m. where O.J.'s whereabouts are unknown. Keep in mind that Nicole only lived about a 6-minute drive away from O.J. So, O.J. and Cato returned to O.J.'s estate around 9:45 p.m. Cato retreated to the guest house by himself. Without being seen, O.J. leaves the mansion around 9:55 and drives about 5 minutes to Nicole's house. He parks a minute away from the house, runs over, and gets into an altercation with Nicole and Goldman around 10:15 when it was reported that the dog started barking. O.J. kills the two, runs back to his car, and drives home. He sneaks back onto the property without Cato or the limo driver seeing, dumps his gloves behind the guest house around 10:50 when Cato hears the loud thumps. O.J. sneaks inside his house, answers the limo driver, and then cleans himself up before being taken to the airport. Now let's look into the evidence that was found. Days before the murder, Nicole said that she had lost her keys to her house and thought O.J. had taken them. The keys would later be found on O.J. after the murders. The glove found at the scene of the murders had Nicole's, Goldman's, and O.J.'s blood on it.
What
Goldman's
the
blood on it.
fuck?
What? What?
That's ridiculous.
I don't know what you're talking about, man. It obviously wasn't him. There's very little proof. As mentioned earlier, a matching glove was also found behind Cato's guest house around the same spot where he heard the loud thumps. This glove also had Nicole's, Goldman's, and O.J.'s blood on it. The knitted hat that was found at the murder scene was tested, and it was found that it had O.J.'s hair in it. The bloody footprint that was found at the murder scene matched O.J.'s shoe size. As mentioned earlier, there was also blood found on O.J.'s Bronco, and when the inside of the car was searched, blood was found on the driver's door, the dashboard, and the center console. The blood found on the center console was consistent with Nicole and Goldman's blood. Also, a few weeks after the initial investigation at the murder scene, a drop of blood was found on a gate that matched O.J.'s blood.
It doesn't really add up. Can't be placed, and there's no evidence going against him, so I'd say he's innocent.
I would too.
Long live O.J.
Long live O.J. He was a good guy. He was the best to ever do it.
guy.
In 2006, O.J. wrote and published a book titled If I Did It, and as the name suggests, it's a book about how O.J. would have hypothetically murdered Nicole and Goldman. Quickly canceled due to
What?
the intent. What?
He wrote a book?
Yeah, he wrote a book about how he hypothetically would have murdered them.
This dude's a fucking psychopath.
Nah, I don't know what you're talking about. He seems like a good guy.
That is fucking crazy.
Well, he did it. The book was quickly canceled due to the intense backlash from the public, but it was allowed to be published after the title changed to I Did It, Confessions of the Killer, and all profits being awarded to the victims' families.
Dude. Dude, we fucking solved it.
I know we solved it.
Yeah, we solved it.
I think it's been solved. I think it was solved way before.
We solved our first case.
This is the most solved unsolved case ever.
Yeah, this shit's ridiculous, dude.
And also, the people who originally allowed it to be published were fired from the publishing place. I forgot what it was. I forgot their names, but they were fired, which I thought was cool.
Yeah, they should be fired. That's a dumbass fucking book.
Yeah. Well, OJ should be in jail, so I'm not saying he did it or anything.
Oh, he didn't do it, but...
But, as you may know, OJ was not found guilty, and we'll look into the reasons why. Even though investigators were convinced they built a rock-solid case against O.J. with plenty of indisputable evidence, the defense argued that the evidence was handled wrong. After the murders at 7 a.m. in the morning after the murders, camera crews piled in the streets outside the crime scene, filling everyone who was on the scene. The footage showed that the forensics team didn't always have gloves on, evidence was being packaged wrong, and Detective Tom Lang even covered Nicole's body with a blanket he found inside to protect her identity at the time. It was also shown that some of the blood evidence that was collected was left in a van for multiple hours to overheat. All of this suggests that the crime scene was contaminated, questioning the legitimacy of some of the evidence. Many people also believe that race played a big factor in the case. Race riots had occurred in 1992 because of the LAPD violently and unnecessarily beating a black man named Rodney King. Some believe that the LAPD were racist, which is an idea the defense heavily used against the prosecution. The defense also played a piece of audio that recorded Detective Mark Furman using racial slurs about 40 times in just the one recording. If you recall, Furman was the first to enter O.J.'s estate after climbing the wall to let detectives in, even though they didn't have a search warrant. Furman alone was the one who found the matching glove behind the guest house. Some speculate that Furman took the matching glove from the murder scene and planted it on the estate. But this probably didn't happen because the crime scene log showed that he was the 12th person on the scene and nobody who was there before him saw a second glove.
That dude probably was racist.
That dude was definitely racist. And this was the 90s. This dude was definitely racist. But I will say, I doubt he purposely set OJ up.
No.
Because that would have to be like a group effort, and then that would have to be 40 professional, not 40, that'd have to be multiple professional detectives, saying, yeah, let's just frame this guy. So I don't think they framed him.
No, he did it.
But you obviously cannot do, you can't, just not wear gloves, and you can't just cover bodies with random blankets you find inside. You can't leave evidence in a van to overheat for multiple hours. But even still, even without all that stuff, there's plenty of evidence to prove that he did it. But arguably the most famous part of the trial occurred when O.J. Simpson tried on the gloves, and shockingly they didn't fit his hand. However, it should be noted that the prosecution didn't want O.J. to try on the gloves because they were leather gloves, and they may have shrunken after not being worn for multiple months and having been frozen multiple times.
Yeah, they definitely shrink.
Yeah.
I own a pair of leather gloves, and I only wear them when I go out to the field. They're always tight as fuck for like the first hour I wear them.
And also, he was the one who tried on the gloves during the trial. They didn't make somebody else put them on. And it's pretty fucking easy to just sit there and say like,
dude, this shit don't fit.
Doesn't fit. Even though, obviously, the gloves fit.
Yeah.
With all that the defense brought to the jury, they reached the verdict of not guilty.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
In 2007, O.J. was connected with a group that robbed a hotel. He was found guilty of charges including kidnapping, armed robbery, and assault with a deadly weapon.
Fuck.
He would be released in 2017 and died in 2024 after a battle with cancer at the age of 76. The end.
Good.
So,
Tasty.
it was pretty good, even though I brushed my teeth. But yeah, so obviously this O.J. guy was a really good person. He went to the grave, a saint. He died a saint.
Yeah, good video, pretty easy. Obviously this is just money and influence. Why he didn't go to jail. Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty simple case.
Yeah, I think we have a good idea about who it is.
Yeah, I got a pretty solid idea.
Me too.
Well, thanks for watching.